This is Big Blue Blitz with your host, Joe Mauceri.
I'm still trying to figure out how they blew it. Fortunately, I have some help in studio today. He's been working hard all day at the owners' meetings, but he joins us each and every week here on the Big Blue Blitz. No, I'm not Ryan Dunleavy, but he is. Oh, I tried to get it up there before. Welcome to the show in studio today, Ryan. Thank you so much for taking the time. Did you walk over here? We discussed it.
I did. I have a little forehead sweat right here, but otherwise I'm good, yeah.
That is the glow of a hardworking man. Why don't we start with the news that you broke today? The Giants, after kicking, fumbling, doing everything they can to throw away a game against the Denver Broncos, made some news today. So it's yours to break. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Giants gave their fans their pound of flesh and cut Jude McAtamney, the kicker. Might end up back on the practice squad because he doesn't even count against the roster. He's an international exemption player. So they'll either go with Graham Gano or Young Ho Koo, this
Wei Koo?
Yeah, this Young Wei Koo, yes, this week against the Eagles. So, look, they gave up 33 points on defense. There's a lot more people to blame than just Jude McAtamney, but he's going to be the one who falls on the sword here first.
All right, so let's talk about what we were talking about before we came on here. The kicking position has been a big problem for the Giants. We've been talking about it all season. I don't think there's a kicker in the league that gets talked about as much as the Giants' kicking position. So you were saying earlier, this is a symptom and a pattern of behavior as it pertains to the Giants that just manifested itself again this weekend.
Yeah, they just keep putting guys, this regime, in positions to fail. Like, you hear the number one thing coaches say all the time at like their intro press conference is like, are you gonna run your system or the player system? I'm gonna bend I'm gonna do whatever it takes to put my players in the best position to succeed. Yeah. And the Giants just keep putting guys in positions they keep asking them to do things they can't do. Whether I go back to Eric Gray as a punt returner, or Josh Azudu as a left tackle, or 7 other examples I could think of, or playing hurt players. And now it's Jude McAtamney, with all due respect, lost his job as a senior at Rutgers, is on the team because of the International Pathways program as an undrafted free agent. They're trying to develop him, but they forced him into big spots. And you could tell they don't trust him because they don't kick 40-yard field goals in a league where everybody kicks 65-yard field goals.
Okay, and speaking of that, the Giants supposedly worked out another kicker who's now kicking for the Green Bay Packers that kicked a 60-plus yard field goal this week for Green Bay.
He's 7 for 7 since he signed with the Packers.
So what happened there?
They signed Young Wei Koo instead. They had a double tryout, Koo and that guy. They signed Koo. He has the resume. He's a longtime kicker, cut by the Falcons. And they signed him. And then Michael Gabriel, the special teams coach, said that McAtamney beat him out in practice.
All right, but I'm just fine. Okay, so you signed Koo over him. I'm just curious, how many kicks did Koo have for the Giants after they signed him? How many?
Zero.
Oh, he's had zero so far.
He's had 0.
So the guy you signed over the guy who's 7 for 7 kicking 60-yard field goals hasn't even kicked for your team yet.
Yes, they made another bad decision. That's what happened. I mean, that's why I think it's unfair to. I mean, look, McAtamney didn't do his job. So you don't do your job in the NFL, you get cut. It's as simple as that at any position, regardless of your resume. But the idea that it's just on him and not on the coaching staff and the front office, there's blame to go around.
All right. Speaking of some of that blame to go around, the pound of flesh I think a lot of people thought they were going to get was not going to be the kicker. Well, maybe the kicker too. They were going to get 2 pounds of flesh. There you go. But Shane Bowen, after this loss, fans calling for his head. Brian Dable came out in support, said that's not going to happen. And then Bobby Okereke after the Monday after the game, he had something to say about it too. Here's what he said about the loss and the blame to go around, and also his thoughts on Shane Bowen.
We're a bunch of fiery, competitive dudes. Obviously, frustrations boil over in a tough, emotional loss like that. The way the momentum was swinging, it was up and down. I think that's a positive for us as a team to get those frustrations and emotions out. And us as grown men, have the accountability to get better. And we talked about it today. It's not one player, one coach, one position group. Everybody really had their hands in the pot in this loss.
You feel like there's full support for Shane? Like everybody's fully bought into what he's what he's doing. And
100%. We're all hands on deck. We're all bought in. Everyone's got to look at the man in the mirror.
That was Jordan Renan asking that question there. So are you buying that? Do you believe that this Giants defense is bought in behind Shane Bowen?
I think they're lukewarm bought in behind Shane Bowen. Like, look, you can't ignore what Dexter Lawrence's long pause before saying, that's up to the coaches. You can't ignore Brian Burns' pursed lips and non-answer when asked if he'd like to be more aggressive, or shouting, "We dropped 8," walking up the tunnel.
He did, in fairness. I think he tweeted out just
Correct.
a little while ago, as we're recording this, that was taken out of context.
I'm not sure the other way it could be taken. I'm sure he'll be asked tomorrow.
Yeah.
Other than, "We dropped 8, how did we not cover the guy?" Which is basically saying at your teammates, why didn't you cover the guy?
Right.
Like, unless he's just going to say it was all like, I can't believe the bad breaks we get. But yes, I'd say lukewarm behind him. Like, coaches get fired when they lose players. So if I have no doubt, I don't know this is just me being around experience, that Daboll's asking his players, like, is there still confidence in the guy? And if the answer was no, he probably wouldn't be the coach.
All right, but here's the thing. I feel like there was a lot of confidence in the previous defensive coordinator. He may have his
they didn't
sights
get
set.
along.
Right. He may
So
have his sights
he made
set on
he
Daboll's
put his
job.
head coach foot down on that.
Yeah.
So, but I think the opposite isn't always true. Like if Daboll really liked Bowen, like Daboll really liked Bobby Johnson, the former offensive line coach, and he's no longer here because it wasn't working. So I think if they were totally out, he wouldn't be here. I think there probably is still support for him, but maybe fading. Now, look, they played great defense for 3 quarters.
Yes.
It'd be hard for me if I'm a player to totally give up on Shane Bowen, because for 3 quarters, we just shut out the Broncos. We were working on Paul Schwartz and I were looking up, like, when's the last Giants shutout?
Yeah.
Like, we thought that was going to happen. And so they played great defense. And, Joe, they also played like 1980s style defense. They were like bone-rattling guys. They were enforcers, intimidators. I can't tell you the last time. Even under Wink, they were aggressive. They weren't like smacking dudes in the mouth like they were.
Right.
So for it to have all gone to hell like that so quickly is mind-boggling.
And that's why I mean, look, people are pointing fingers at certain decisions, and we'll get into them in a second here. But I think what Bobby Okereke said is right, because, I mean, you can't give up 33 points in a quarter, number one. Number two, you look at that. You had a 19-point lead, and you scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. We were talking about this. Like, it's one thing to blow a 19-point lead, but when your offense still scores 2 touchdowns. Now, look, you had a little bit of luck there, obviously, with that deflected pass off the hands of Wan'Dale Robinson that results in the touchdown. But Denver had the same thing on their previous touchdown.
That cancels each other out in my mind.
So I mean, this was absolutely incredible. Let's start with the defense here, because I think that I think they're the least to blame in all of this, but I think they still made some key mistakes there. What stood out from you in that swing from being the enforcers to that fourth quarter where they give up 33 points?
You mean with the defense?
With the defense.
Once Paulson Adebo went out of the game, the Giants' defense entirely changed. I don't know if it's how they were calling it. I don't know if it was the players adjusting to having a weaker player on the field, that being Deontay Banks.
Yep.
But the Broncos certainly did what most teams do when Deontay Banks is at the field, which is direct all their passes towards Deontay Banks, attack him, so to speak. That to me was the number one. Now, and he's not the only culprit. Drew Phillips, who's had a nice season, had a terrible game.
And again, really just a terrible fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Right.
But Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter were quiet after talking trash all week.
There was
the
that
Broncos.
key penalty that Kayvon had that gave them the first down. He was the offsides penalty there where he got drawn off.
Burns had one when he was late to get back at the end of the game. He was playing with a really banged up foot, and he had a great game. I mean, to me, the thing that stood out was they were playing aggressive defense, and then all of a sudden Banks came in, and the Giants, even though they were playing with an 18-point lead, felt like they were on their heels.
All right. So as we said, there is plenty of blame to go around in this one. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Jackson Dart. We're going to talk about Brian Daboll. We're going to talk about everything else that went wrong. And there's still some good things to take away for Giants fans as they head into this week's game against the Eagles. Stay with us. The Big Blue Blitz is coming right back.
Welcome back to Big Blue Blitz.
Welcome back to the show. We are breaking it all down. The Giants lost to the Denver Broncos, an epic collapse in the fourth quarter. And with us in studio today is NFL reporter for the New York Post, Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, we were talking about all the blame to go around. Obviously, we got the defense out of the way. So let's talk about the meat of the collapse here. And we're going to start with Jackson Dart. Obviously, the interception was the key. Here's what he said about the loss and not letting it carry over into next week's game against the Eagles.
One loss lead to another. You got to fix the things that you messed up on, and we got to finish games. I mean, we have to be able to finish the game. So we have good leaders on the team. We have good players. We have to find ways to finish the game and bounce back.
All right, so finishing the game, we saw obviously what happened against the Dallas Cowboys. Jackson Dart wasn't there. And then this collapse here against the Denver Broncos. So let's start with Dart's role in this year. Obviously, the interception. What did you make of the way he played in that fourth quarter?
So the interception is classic, what Daboll warns about, what we all know, which is you live with a rookie quarterback, you die with a rookie quarterback. Like, they're going to do these kind of things. You would not expect a Russell Wilson to do that kind of thing, but you don't get the big plays from the Russell Wilson either. So I think there's just a measure of, with Dart, like, whether he saw the guy, whether he didn't see the guy, whether he forced the throw, like, that can't happen. You take the sack. I didn't love the play call, Joe. Like, they could have run the ball there, made the Broncos use the third timeout, or they could have done a rollout pass. How about this? How about give him an RPO rollout where it's either an easy throw because you want him to throw the ball, or he takes off and runs, or he slides and you don't get it and then you punt. But at least, hey, we tried to be aggressive.
All right,
play the middle.
But here's the thing, right? Like, we see this all the time, and I feel like Bill Belichick, right, used to throw with Brady. I feel like we saw this with Dungy and Manning. The two previous plays, the run game was absolutely shut down. This Denver defense was rolling. They had all the momentum on their side in this situation. I had no problem. I said I thought they should throw it there because there was still so much time. And people talking about getting Denver to use that final timeout, making the difference in there. Let's not forget, Denver took the lead in this game. You had enough time to come back and score a touchdown to go ahead, and they still had time to come back and kick a game-winning field goal. The way this game was going, I think that this probably plays out. The Giants run the ball, they end up punting, and who knows? Predetermined outcomes, right, aren't a thing. But there's still enough time in the game, the way that offense was rolling and your defense was reeling there, that I think the first down, you end the game. You needed 2 first downs, and the game was definitely over. If you can get a first down there, run some more time, use the timeout, and then end up punting, I think the game is effectively over there. I got no problem with Brian Daboll going for it. And the other thing is that you look at the situation and the play call itself. I like the idea that they had guys in blocking in the backfield, right, which helped with the extra blockers. I think the defensive play call, he just didn't see him. And people are like, how did you not see me in his front? You're a quarterback. You're looking this way to the receivers running across the field. I think he saw it too late. And because there might have been a little bit of that ball didn't have enough on it, which is why that guy's the one that ends up intercepting it.
It also looks like he slips a little on the play, and he had rolled his ankle earlier in the game. So, like, there's a million possible things that could have happened. I don't have a problem with the aggressiveness. I just maybe, like I said, I would have given him like an RPO option or something. I don't have a problem putting it in his hands. But to your earlier point, like, they left enough time for them to get back. What would we be talking about all week, Joe, if they lost without Dart getting the ball back? How's he going to respond to his first bit of adversity as an NFL quarterback? We don't have to worry about that because we saw him respond. He went right down the field and scored.
So what do you think about that response, though? Because obviously the pass interference call was key there. Did you think it was PI?
On live, I thought that was PI. Like, I saw it and I said, they got to throw the flag there.
Same thing.
I saw the replay. It was probably not PI.
And so
especially in that spot.
I give a little leniency to the officials there because same thing. When I saw it live, I was like, oh, that's definitely PI. And then I saw the replay and I thought he got his head around and I was like, okay, but we can't review that. You're not picking up a flag in that situation. Then when they started to talk about it, I did think maybe one of the other officials was going to say, no. But they let the call stand. Then you get into the situation, and that's the beauty of this.
But
game.
we didn't even talk about. Don't forget the 4th and 19 pass.
Oh yes, which by the way, he didn't get 19 yards.
No,
on.
it was probably a yard short.
And if they're not roughing the passer on that one, you don't get the first down anyway.
They probably lose on that. But that I thought was roughing the passer. I thought he did hit him high.
Yes, completely agree there. So how much credit are we giving Jackson Dart for that last drive?
A lot. I'm giving him a ton because rookie quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks don't always respond in that. It's easy to hang your head. He made the huge play to Wan'Dale Robinson. Whether it's 18 or 19, it was a sick throw and a sick catch by Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah. So, he bounced back. He had the short memory, that cliche. I give him a ton of credit. He ran the ball in. Actually, live, you know what I was saying in the press box, Joe? I was saying, they'd be better off if he didn't score. They reviewed it. I know this is, kind of a loser way to think, but I was I don't want my defense back on the field. I obviously thought McAtimney was going to make the PAT. I was I don't want the Broncos going down to tie the game, and then I'm in the Cowboys situation where I'm going overtime. I was let it. It's better for the Giants if he doesn't score. Then Daboll should run the clock down. Yep. He tried to call timeout. Don't call timeout. Yeah. Get it to 10 seconds. Then call timeout. Then take your 2 shots. Throw one, and then you have a third down. You run it or you throw it, whatever. Let it run out. End with the ball in the NFL today.
So I completely agree there, and that's one of the things that we were talking about in the sports department as that was all happening live there. I said they left too much time on the clock again because we've seen that. The other thing is, but you can't not score a touchdown, right? When you're trailing, I get, if you just need the field goal to go ahead, you're down by 4 here in this situation. You need to go and get that ball in because I see too many penalties, right? You see an offsides, you see an illegal formation, you see somebody in motion, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you're reeling. So I get you got to take the points there. I would have liked them to have the clock run down a little bit more because they had that timeout as well in their pocket there. Okay, so you putting any of that on Dart?
No, no. Game management, clock, all that's on the head coach.
All right, so let's go into it.
And the offensive coordinator.
Let's go into it. Brian Daboll here in this situation. Are you as outraged as some other fans have been with the way Daboll handled this in the fourth quarter?
Yes, I think I don't think he did a good job coaching it at all. I don't think his clock management has been good. I don't think his fourth down decision-making has been consistent, pretty much the whole time he's been here.
Okay.
I do give him a ton of credit for Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I can't ignore the fact that he's the one who wanted to pick this guy. He's the one who wanted to start this guy in week 4. And Jackson Dart's the whole reason this team has any life.
Yeah.
I can't ignore that. But as far as game day coaching, I put the fourth quarter a lot on the coaching staff.
All right. But what specifically stands out to you as the egregious error from Brian Daboll? Or is it the totality?
Well, I think it's the totality. Yeah. I think they weren't running down the clock as plays were going, as the collapse was happening. They were still snapping the ball. I don't know what the average was. Let's say 10 seconds on the clock. They didn't do a good job running out the clock, managing the clock. I told you I didn't love the third down play call that he threw the interception on. I didn't love going for 2 at the end of the third quarter, up 19. That felt and he was right. If this is his thought in his head,
right,
and this is probably what's on the chart, is I want to be up 21 in case we gave up 3 touchdowns. Well, he was right. They gave up 4 touchdowns. Right. So, in hindsight, he'll probably do it again if he's ever in that spot because it'll be I want to be up 21, not 20.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah,
but I was right there.
But I don't love maybe if you're up 6, you do it because 2 touchdowns can happen, bang, bang, and you want to be up 14.
Yeah.
21 felt unnecessary. As we learned, it was necessary.
It's crazy, though. So that was the one thing in all of it, right? I think you get up to the line of scrimmage, right? And I think part of that, and the reason I asked is how much you put on Dart. I think part of that goes on Jackson Dart. I think getting up to the line of scrimmage, going and surveying the defense, right? Calling out mics and all that stuff is something he is going to learn and grow from. Because I don't think maybe you give him a reminder, hey, you can take a couple extra seconds. There's no need to rush here. But if he sees something, you got to trust your quarterback in this situation. And Brian Daboll does.
Yeah.
And that's what I take away from the third down play and the interception. So I looked at it, and for me, I was going back over this. I think maybe they could have taken more time off. I was thinking that earlier in the quarter. But I didn't think anything was really egregious. The biggest question I had was that 2-point conversion.
I think, I didn't love the 2-point conversion. It's being addicted to your chart and to analytics and not maybe having a feel of the game. And you're not up any 19. You're up 19-0. Your defense is pitching a shutout.
Yeah.
So the idea that they're going to score 20 seems unlikely. And as far as Dart, why you're putting a little more on it than I am. I think my bar might be too low. Like, as a rookie, I just want you to play well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not judging you on like your like
You
how
have
do you
PTSD.
how do you control the clock, all this stuff. Like, that's advanced quarterbacking, 200 level, 300 level quarterback. 100 level quarterback is like, are you good? And it seems like he's pretty good.
Yeah, and you know what? I think he has raised the bar for himself, too, because of the way he's gone out there and the toughness and the leader of men and him saying all the right things. Like, I do think he is a lot savvier than a rookie quarterback. And I think that's also why he started as early as he did. I still think he should have started the season, but we'll be talking about that until the cows come home if they miss the playoffs by a game. Big picture, though. They went into Denver. Mile High is not an easy place to play. And they went toe-to-toe with the Broncos. They dominated the Broncos for 3 quarters. And then I look at it, they still put up 14 points in that fourth quarter. What is your ultimate takeaway based on, obviously, expectations change within the game, but based on where this team was, and I'm not going to say in the beginning of the season, but going into this week, we'll say, what do you take away from that game?
I mean, you have to start with you take away the loss and the fact that the season and any dreams of like, you know, the playoff push and trade deadline acquisitions, they kind of went up in smoke because 2-5 is 2-5. But they were so close to it mattering. They were so close to being 3-4, having a playoff push in a messy NFC East, like making a big Olave kind of addition or something like that, and getting everybody excited. They were so close to it. They're a much better team than they were a couple weeks ago. You can legitimately say that anything can happen on any Sunday, and that's a cliche, but that I've never believed because I've never seen it. You can actually believe that now. So I think that you take all the way. For 3 quarters, they were what they were supposed to be. Like, the pass rush dominated, the defense dominated, the rookie quarterback gave us spark. Even without Malik Neighbors, it was like if you looked in Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll's notebook for the blueprint, that's what it was.
Yeah, if everything goes perfect, this is what this Giants team can be. All right, so that being said, next up, you got another matchup with the Eagles. You beat them a week ago or 10 days ago or whatever it is now, 2 weeks ago at this point. You said it was going to be a buzzsaw last time.
I did.
You think it's going to be a buzzsaw this time, or have expectations changed for you?
Expectations have changed. Like I just said, I don't know what to expect from the Giants, which is a good thing because I used to just expect a lot. They're playing Philly. That's 20-point loss. Like, I don't think that anymore. Like, I think anything's possible. Vic Fangio said today, did you see this? The Eagles defensive coordinator said, what's your takeaway from playing Jackson Dart? He said teams that passed on him in the draft are going to regret it. So that's from one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. So I think they have Philly's attention more than they've had Philly's attention in the past. Might not be a good thing for them. They're not sneaking up on Philly. But what do I think is that it's the perfect opponent for the Giants off of this, like off of that gut punch.
Why is that?
It's because they have their attention. They're the Super Bowl champions. Rivalry. We just beat them, so we
can't afford a letdown.
Correct. We have some confidence against this team. We just beat them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a rivalry. Everybody's paying attention. Everybody's going to be honest if we lay an egg. If they were like playing the 49ers or something, I'd say, there might be a hangover. But the Eagles have the Giants' attention. The Giants have the Eagles' attention. I don't think they're going to win, but I don't expect a performance like we saw last year when they just totally no-showed against the Buccaneers.
And I'll tell you what, though, if your lines play the way they have been playing, you got a shot in any game.
Yeah.
So, hey, Giants fans, you got something to be excited about. Feeling again. You're not numb anymore.
Yeah.
At least you're feeling again. We're going to be talking about it each and every week, so make sure you tune in right back here on the Big Blue Blitz. For Ryan Dunleavy, I'm Joe Mauceri. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next week, everybody.